Hey y'all, what's going on? Okay, so let's talk about the preachers of Detroit. And I have to tell y'all, like, when I talk about this show, I guess because it's what it's about or whatever, it's just, I enjoy talking about this. And, of course, it came on Friday, and I guess I should have did it then, but, I've been kind of doing that, like, later on in the next week or early part of the next week when I talk about them. Okay, so this one was very interesting because I was able to really, you know, get into and kind of look at the Shelbys. Not that I've changed my mind on how I feel like, something is off or something a little bit. But on the flip side, part of me wants to say, not part, I do want to say that when it comes to the wife, okay, let's just start let's start at the beginning, then we'll get to that. Okay, so this week we have Pastor Bullock has invited the pastor that was on there from the beginning. I forget his name, but he's the white pastor, the one that's celibate, and I believe he said he was 50. Now, y'all, did he say he was 50? Okay, and he believes in abstinence, you know, being pure, not having sex before being married or whatever, which is, that's the right thing to do. Pastor Bullock invites him, but we know that Bullock, honey, is a little bit, he kind of leans on the side of, honey, where we all fall short, and that's usually where I'm falling short at, it seems like that, okay? And he's going to talk about safe sex. And he invites the pastor who, wants to talk about abstinence and has been absent, and he hasn't had sex or whatever, to come and be a part of that. Now, here's my thing, and this piece of her. Where is it, Lord? Ooh, y'all, this her jumped in my eye just so I could read it for filth. See what I'm saying? Just her, just everywhere, and y'all can't see it, but I can feel it. Trying me and wanting me to be, say some things. And I'm going to go forward with my video without, oh Lord, the use of. Okay? So, my thing is, you invited him and you knew, and he had him to come up and he began to talk about it and deliver a sermon. And he stood in his testimony, in front of those men who were probably thinking, what, 50? But still he stood in it. They was thinking, dang, he's so old to, be like that. When really they in the house of the Lord, they should be like, we commend you for that or whatever. Doing it the right way. I wish I had or whatever. So he goes on and begins to speak about it and talk about it. And as he's getting ready to go some more into it, Bullock that had him to come down and cut him off, now I'm sure there was some stuff that was left on the cutting board, on the cutting floor when they was editing, and it may have been edited that way, but then he went on later to say that he was cut off, and he was in the middle of saying something. It was like, all right, let's hear it from Mr. Abstinent, and go, so and then he comes on and says, well, if you end that and you can, and you going home, y'all, did y'all see me do a Melissa Ford that quick? I looked at my mirror and was getting ready to talk into it when I just looking for the camera. Right. So, yeah, that's what I'm calling it. So basically, he says, well, have a tent to put over that. And the other pastor's looking like, and he says, I should have known when he asked me it was going to be some issues. Now, I find that I don't know that I don't understand why he invited him there for that. Maybe it was to show a different side and to let them know ultimately you should be abstinent. But if you cannot, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak, honey. Put some cover on that flesh, is what where Bullock is at if we're talking about safe sex, where the other pastors like safe sex is this, is that, you know, you don't have sex outside of marriage, you know. While that was going on, my daughter was in here. We were listening to it together, and she was like, well, let me go into this. As it was over, Pastor Bullock began to pass out condoms. And I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, it's almost like, in a way, that can give you the sense of the church is conforming to the world. If that, you know, makes sense, and that's just my take on it. You know, and I do look at the church as a sanctuary. You know, but I do believe you can have church anywhere where two or three come together and talk about the Lord. Jesus is in the midst, and this hers in my eye. Okay? And as he begins to pass it out, there was this man, and he was like, Pastor Bullock was passing out. He was like, I'm married. He was like, but still take one. What was you saying with that? In case you outside your marriage, honey, and you get weak and the flesh get weak, you wrong, and it's fornication and adultery, but at least you won't get nothing. No, I'm sorry. I thought the man said the right thing, you know, and that brought Brittany to the point where she was like, listen, and Brittany believes in a marriage, you should still have condoms too, because you don't know for sure. You cannot say 100% that your spouse is not out there doing all kinds of things. And I understand what she's saying, but okay, y'all, this is just wrong. Oh, y'all, is it a lash or something? Oh, I can't get it, y'all. Oh God, I can't get it. And it seems to be just floating, whatever it is. I don't want to be nasty and be raising lids up. Okay. I understand what Brittany's saying, but at a point you have to trust in the Lord, you know, and you know, trust that you have made the right choice, and that the Lord will, you know, guard you and protect you. I'm not saying be silly, because yes, it happens. It's a plenty women who have gotten things. There's plenty men who have gotten things from their spouse as well, vice versa. But you do want to have that trust, and when that trust is gone, it's all gone, you know. So I don't know that there should be condoms in the married bed, you know, but I'm not against if that's what, you know, a couple, you know, practice or whatever, you know, do what you do in your bed, you know. But I don't know that I'm, you know, up with that, because my thing is this, you know, if you hadn't been and your husband whip out a condom, honey, you better get up, get your drawers on, please, and thank you. And you and him need to have a talk. Okay? All right. And vice versa for the men. Okay, so we have that part, and then we have another scene where, just kind of staying in line with that, which is, it's really kind of on down the road, but I'm gonna throw it in here now, where the pastor that believes in abstinence went to go see, who was the pastor at the time, but now has been elevated to bishop, the one that his mother was killed and all of that, and went to talk to him, and he went to talk about his experience, and how it was, and all of that, you know. So really, where is it? Hit the thing. Sorry, y'all. And, you know, they went to talk about that. So he was telling him how he felt and this and that and other. And it seems to me that when it comes down to Bullock, everybody has a you know, a bad taste in their mouth, you know, kind of, when it comes to him, like, oh Lord, you went to Pastor Bullock, and I hate that that's happening, because I feel as if, and I've done my research, somewhat, that this is a man that does believe in the community and want to help. But with that being said, I do believe, whether he believes it or not, that he, just like the rest of us, is in the making. You know what I'm saying? You still learning and you still doing things. And I think sometimes he's just, you can pull it back a little bit. He is very argumentative, even though he's trying to get his point across. And when they talked, and then there was another scene where, Bullock was in there talking to the newfound bishop, and here comes the abstinent pastor. And it's like, oh, and they begin to go back and forth. And he's like, it was a contradiction for you to have me there, for you to have me talk about it. And then you talk about condoms. And, in the same thing, I really felt, some kind of way. The bishop was like, hold up, talking to Bullock and trying to get him to stop. And Bullock is just so passionate about whatever he's saying. But he did woosah, and he did say, I got a lot of good feedback from you being there. Okay. And, and I hope, and, and they just kind of agreed and, and showed in the end, brotherly love, which is what it's supposed to be about. And in that setting, I was able to kind of see in a way what I was reading about bishops, as far as other pastors going to them and sitting and talking to them and them being mentored by the bishops and this type of thing. So I was able to see that, and I thought that the newfound bishop handled himself well, given that he had issue with Bullock as well. So it was interesting to see that go, and I really am looking forward to hearing more from the abstinent, and I have to call him that now because I don't remember his name. Okay, moving forward, and now wanting to go real quick into the Shelby household. The Shelby Five have made some songs, and they do have some beautiful voices and all of that, And I think it was the oldest son that went to the dad, which I feel like he's not for anything. I mean, they can't do anything without, him. Like, even making they just can't. It just seems like they can't do anything without him. And I believe at a point, if you feel like you have raised your children, at some point you have to watch and see exactly how you raise them, and let them produce and show you just how well you've raised them. So they want to get another producer. They've made like 8 songs, but they won't help with some others. And they want to go and talk to some secular producers, okay? Of course, he's did secular, and so, he's really not for that. He's like, I don't want you to lose focus on what it's about. It's about the message, not the money, in his Burberry shirt, as he said that. It is what it is. And I get that, but they're still singing about the Lord. They're still singing about the word, and all of that. And with that being said, I always wonder when a person says, well, they're secular or whatever. When you go to a restaurant as a Christian, pastor, bishop, whichever one, evangel, and whatever, do you say, when they say, welcome to Garrett's Steakhouse, how may I, can I get you a drink or whatever? Before you go forward and you decide that you want to choose things, do you ask them first, are you a Christian? Oh, you're not? Okay, well, I cannot be served by anyone that's secular or that is not. I don't get it. I think that everybody has their profession and what they do. They just want to work with him as far as, this person, as far as being a producer of music. Like, I don't know that man is trying to take them to hell. I don't get it. Like, 1 minute you want to implement it and the next minute not. At what point do you establish that, okay, I don't get it, y'all. Like, I feel like they could have a producer, and as long as they continue to sing about the word, continue to sing praises to the Lord, continue to bring people to the Lord, and as long as it's done to glorify, the Father, like, and I do mean God, not Shelby Father. I am talking about the Father, the Most High. Um, how is it a problem? But then as they went on, and like after they ate and he sung his song, so it seems like he wants it to be like the Shelby Six or whatever. He wants, really, this curl. Y'all wasn't even gonna tell me that curl was doing me bad. Like y'all could. Anywho, and he sung and it sounded good, and they were, glad that he sung, and they ate and they talked a bit. And then it was time, it was up, and it was like dinner was over. And he said, well, the girls are going to get the dishes, and the young men were going to get the trash and everything in its order and as it should be, because clearly a man could never wash a dish. A woman could never take out a trash bag. Wherever that position is in the Bible, please share that with me. I do know that I will have some that will try to break that down to me and tell me, well, that is a woman's job, and I will again ask you to show it to me. Now, most of the time, it is the women who do that. But let me take you back to the pastor that speaks abstinence and lives on his own. Now, who is washing his dishes? He may be washing his own dishes. I don't know that everything has to have that to it. Like, could it just be you all, clean the kitchen up and me and your mom gonna go upstairs and watch TV? Can it be that? I don't know. Like, okay. Maybe I got it messed up in the game, because my dad has cooked for my mother has cooked for him, I've cooked for my husband, and he has cooked for me. And are we wrongfully married? So I don't know. Anyway, moving forward, staying in line in the kitchen. Now, let me go to this. So, is it Loretta Vaughn? Is that her name? Y'all know me and these names, but the Lady Bishop. She wants to have a conference. Now, she's, has to sit down and she talks with Ellis's daughter. And I believe, I'm trying to think, was the other young lady there? Was that the Clark's daughter? Was she? Y'all clarify that for me down below. And talk about, they go back to the situation with the female president and this type of thing. And, the positions. And she's still, again, I understand where she's coming from, but what I don't get is just as much as she's saying to them that it has to be changed, and don't be that way. Like, you are browbeating them with this change. Like, you are, telling them you're doing the same thing they're doing. They're not willing to give on it. You're not willing to give on it. They're not willing to accept the change, and you don't have to throw that on them. And you're not willing to accept the fact that they're not. You seem to think if you incorporate them and bring them in and have this luncheon and this meeting and discuss this and discuss that, that you are going to change them. No, you are not going to change them, Shelby girls, because their mother stands sternly in their convictions, honey. And not only is the daddy's thumb on them, so is the mother. And I'm not going to be the one to say that they're wrong. If she has told her daughters that and have raised them to be, nurturers, be a wife, be at home and cook and do all of that, who's to say that that's wrong if that is the choice that they make for themselves? She has raised them that way. Like, just like you want them to go further in that Bible and to see that women did other things, you also need to look in there and see exactly what women did as well. It is what it is. And you mentioned that I told him to don't, when it comes to my calling, don't push me on that. How do you know you was not called to be a wife? Or they were not called to be wives and at home and this and that and other? I'm just saying. And if you're going to say your calling is for the Lord, and if that is how it is in the Bible, y'all, I'm just talking, then you have to also consider, and you say, I'm going to do what my father says and follow the Lord, baby, then you too cannot pick and choose. All I'm saying is, there's two sides to each, to this. And you trying to change them, I don't think it's necessarily fair, because they may be happy and may be looking forward to being at home with their children and taking care of their husbands. You can't say they wrong for that. Just like they can't necessarily say you're wrong for wanting to preach the Lord's word and feeling like you was called to do that. I think somewhere in their lies a compromise. Basically, and the compromise is this, is that you will respect them and they will respect you. That is the only compromise that I see happening in that situation. But what I will say is, when their mother told them about this luncheon, how they laughed and this and that and other, as if she's a joke. Now, it's not that, young ladies, that, and it's not like they will ever see my video. It's not that you can't get anything from this woman. Sometimes ignorance can be bliss on both sides. To stand there and laugh as if she's a joke, I don't feel like that's right. I've read a lot of things, and I've heard a lot of people's opinions, and mostly read about the Shelby mother and how they feel like she is some type of drone or whatever. Like when she said serve, and did that, ever since then they have looked at her a certain kind of way. They feel like you all, will never, like y'all said, y'all don't date. No, you're never gonna date. Basically, when you get a husband, it seems as if the only way you all are going to have one, it seems as if, is if your father picks and that type of thing. Like, are you all going to have freedom to love? And I felt it was just kind of a disrespect. It was just dismissing her totally. When a lot of women feel like, your mother's a joke and your beliefs is a joke. It's not right for them to feel like y'all are a joke, as well as for you all to feel that same way about her. How is that Christian like? When we start doing that, like she was a joke. She is passionate in what she believes and how she feels, just as you all are passionate about being servants. Now, that's a bit of shade, y'all, and I need to bring it down some, because I understand what we're talking about. But I just don't feel like it's right on either side to do that. When I've seen her, she may say, well, they set us back. But I've seen her fully respect them in the full, even when they're not there and she's speaking of them. Even when she spoke about them singing and their voices being so nice and, just all of that. And for you all to do that, y'all, it just kind of threw me back. And I was like, oh, okay. But I'm going to bring that down, because if I don't, I will say a lot of things. And I will thank God for this, for him grabbing my tongue as I talk on these videos, and, making me take a moment to, not that I don't think about what I'm saying, but making me think about how to say something else, because of what I'm talking about and whom I may be talking to that watches this show and looks forward to this review, So since I'm going to say this right here, since I've been on this journey of watching this, I felt him kind of move, and okay. I heard on my nose, y'all running around here like Natalie, really? It is, y'all. I still got this cold. Anyway, he's been, kind of moving, and is it conflicting? What is it? Like putting stuff on me, you know what I mean? To really think about. So I'm thankful for that. I do, know that I have a long way to go, and hopefully he has not given up on me, because I know he hasn't moved at all, isn't me, But anywho, moving forward, I just felt some kind of way when they did that. Now, moving on along to going to the part where the newfound bishop went to go meet up with the lady bishop, and she let her know, well, we haven't lived together for so many years. And when you say that, are you hoping that they will shame your husband into coming home? I don't know. Are you just giving your testimony? I think in a way she's giving her testimony by saying that he's not there. And I told him, if it comes down to him, please don't make me choose. And maybe that's the way she's saying it. But I just think that if you be still long enough, the Lord will show you a way to be a wife as well as serve him and bring people, to him. And I don't know that she listened long enough for that. She heard the call and ran, but didn't hear the rest of the sentences, maybe. I don't know. But I love the fact that she has a zeal for the Lord and all of that. But some would say, now here we go, because I read this, to be, there was a scripture, to be this or to be that, you need to, before you can be the head of the church, you need to be able to delegate and take care of your home and have that together before you come and try to get God's house together. And some would question, if your husband is not at home, then your house is not in order. But yet you're trying to get God's house together or bring people to his, to his flock or whatever. That question is out there. And it is going to be hard for people not to look and judge her in that way. I'm not necessarily judge her, but look at that and be like, okay, well, you telling me this, but you see what I'm saying? And I feel that I feel for her. I like her. And yeah, you know what, y'all? I think her, y'all know that the first lady, Ellis, I believe it's Ellis, I definitely would love to meet her and her daughter. And definitely her as well. Also, I would like to meet her, and just have a conversation with her. Yeah, it's been times that I've been invited to things that has been, on that order. And I think that I keep myself from it because I know that I am still very, very militant. And when you go in there and you being a part of things like that, like it's not time to play or whatever. And I don't know at 45 years old, and I will stand up and be accounted, that I could hold my mouth or even stand by some of the things that go on in the church. You understand what I'm saying? The people. I know that I cannot be anywhere where if a person comes to try to truly come to the Lord and you give them stipulations, your stipulations, not his, on whether you're going to accept them or not. And that just takes me to Brittany's situation. I don't want to have to spend my time that I need to spend with the Lord talking to you about the choice or whatever that you feel my children have made. You know what I mean? Because I could say, well, you know what? We can spend all of that time talking about some of my choices or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And, but I found myself wanting to go to something like that. I would love to meet, like I said, her, First Lady Ellis's wife and the daughter, and, have Brittany to go with me. But, because you can't accept me without my family. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not even sorry, but, but I would really love to. Would I ever get that opportunity? I doubt it. But I'm just saying, how sometimes they say, speak it and you never know. But moving forward, it's just, I don't know. I feel bad for her because that's got to be a hard thing. And then they went on and she went home, the one that she was talking to, and talked to her husband, the newfound bishop, and said, listen, as we were talking, she said they had lived together, and like she was like, honey, I can't be away from you for 5 days. So what about, when you call to leave, or whatever? And I thought, and there was a chatter in here in my room amongst me and my husband and Brittany. I said myself, no, I don't want him to be gone. But on either side, whether you are your wife's, the bishop, or the husband, they are called to do that. If they called to do that according to the Lord, it is what it is. Sit back, just ask God to give you the patience. You know what I mean? Like for me, I don't know that if my husband woke up tomorrow and said, you know what, baby, that's it, I'm going to be the reverend, I would be like, you know what, baby? Okay. But I'm going to need a little bit to pull myself together because I don't think, what are you doing? Why do you do it?
Making sure they straight. I didn't want, because I be breaking them when I close it like that, just close it down.
Because as a first lady, you got, you might have to go and he has to go. The people might want to come and you need to be ready and on point at all times, honey.
That ain't gonna never happen.
What?
No, I ain't. They won't be my preacher.
Well, you never know what the Lord's going to do. But my point that I'm trying to make is that I would have to, without a doubt, I would follow him and be like, you know what, baby, your first job as the reverend is to get your wife together, honey, because I'm going to need you and the full armor of God to help me through this. You see what I'm saying? But I would have to get myself prepared and ready to stand next to him. But Lord, be with me. I might be, I don't know, would I be the most unorthodox, first wife, first lady of the church or whatever? I don't know. All I do know is that I will follow him, on that. And I said all that to say that I would follow him. And there was a conversation where it was, really you should follow your husband or whatever. But, I guess no man wants to be following behind no woman either. I don't know, y'all. This is right.
I'm not.
And I'm, and I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? Like, I can watch my husband be elevated. It is simple as that. Because I will be looking at him in awe. And on the flip side, I will be like, baby, that is sexy on you, honey. Hurry up and get this service done. I'm just saying, just watching, your husband be a leader. Confidence. You have to be confident, I think, to be a leader.
So it ain't. I don't think they in it.
I don't.
In it because they got called and they see.
Well, I think
because they too flashy.
Well, not all of them. Pastor Bullock is not. And I did some research, and I'm glad to my love. Thank you to my love who shared with me. That's a young man who has been working for the community.
Okay, that's one.
Okay, and then as well, the other men who follow him or whatever. So I believe you can't say that they all are because you don't know some of them.
Yeah.
Okay, clearly I would agree with you on that. But I don't know. I just really I feel bad for her.
To be flat, it ain't what it's about.
Well, y'all, let me say this real quick, and this is outside of this. Y'all know I watch The Pastor's Daughter, but listen, when it comes to that, I cannot restrain myself. And last week, one of them girls said that Jesus parted, and I wanted to snatch her up. Baby, I'm talking about you did this last time, and that's the same word you said.
I said stupid shit.
You said that. See, when I'm talking about them, I don't do that. But women
didn't do it.
No, I didn't. Anywho, it was, and I don't know. I just feel some kind of way. I feel bad for her. Okay, now moving forward and getting out of y'all, I'll be dragging this out, I think, and I'm sorry, but I enjoy talking about it though too. So she had her get together The daughters and the mother, they were not going to be there. They did have a prior arrangement. That wasn't an issue with them. Not if they had an arrangement, it is what it is. And I think even if they didn't, I don't think they would have went. And that I would have looked at like, you could at least go and just be there in support of her. You don't agree with everything everybody says, but fellowship. Okay, so they have it, and they have I believe that lady who stood up, she was one of the pastors from one of the first wives from LA. She came and spoke, and it was a nice thing. At one point, um, the eldest daughter got up there, honey, and she spoke so eloquently and nicely, honey, and went up there with her heels and all, and looked fabulous doing it. And she was talking about she wanted to mentor to young ladies who hadn't had that dad because she's had it, and is how important it is. And I thought that was great. Now the other that was there, she was like, honey, no, I came here to support. I didn't come here to stand. I don't do that up there, and that was that. I thought it was a nice little get together and a nice little, talk about it, whatever. Do I think there would have been anything that the Shelby daughters could have got out of it? Yes, they could have, but would they have been open to it? No, not at all. And on down the road, the lady bishop had, let's see, I believe it was the newfound bishop's wife and Shelby. And she said, I'm not trying to, Shelby wife was like, I'm not trying to push this movement of, women. And I guess in a sense, this feminist thing or whatever. And she went on to say she enjoys doing what she does, cooking, whatever. And the newfound bishop's wife, she was like, I'm with you on that. So I think, with the lady bishop, she may have thought she had some support there, but you don't. You don't. They are never going to. One thing I do need to point out, First Lady Ellis, I mean not Ellis, I'm sorry, Shelby, girl, what I'm gonna get you to do, baby, is I'm going to get you to get a foundation that is not as yellow as it was. Girl, who they were wrong for letting you go in there like that. Like, I cannot. You look jaundiced, and I've seen it look better what is going on. I just had to add that in because I was like, whoa, you know. And then her, the beginning or whatever, she beat down her, and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, we're going to need to get her from the Mac counter and get her somewhere else, baby. And so you might have to mix a little bit. You have a little bit of red to your tone or whatever. Yellow may not be, that yellow-based tone may not be it. But anywho, we all need help with that because I'm looking at me now and I feel like I'm looking jaundiced. So lest there be any confusion, we all can make that mistake when it comes to like foundation. Because I don't really use the foundation like that. I use a CC cream, just getting all the way off. And I will share it with y'all. The Queen Collection CC cream. And but that did kind of throw me back a bit. But getting back on track, there was that. And then you had the Shelby Five that went to go, and one of the Clark sisters that's on there, she was there singing and all of that, and they went and met up with the pastor. I'm not the pastor, I'm sorry, the producer, and this and that and other, and he asked them to sing, and they said what they wanted to do, and he's like, well, he heard them and wanted to see how they could move forward. And the whole time that was going on, I was like, well, they can forget that because their dad is not going for that. So I believe the eldest son went to him and tried to give it to him as nicely as he could. And he said, I would love to be like you, to kind of butter him up a little bit. And he went on to say, he's a phenomenal, producer. And yes, we did sing for him. And the dad seemed like he was like, good, you sung for him and he really liked it and all of that. But then, of course, now, is he a Christian producer? And he was like, well, he's produced Christian, songs and things, but that's not all he produces. And so of course then it became, okay, well, you're gonna lose the message, and he's done, and that's it. It's not like he said that they were changing the songs. They, because they didn't. It's not like that at all. So uh basically, I'm gonna call back when I'm done. I done went too far in this video to stop y'all. Basically, I don't think he's open to it, but he said, I don't want to be like I'm rude, telling you what to do all the time. I want you to make right decisions, but of course they're not going to make a decision against him, because I don't feel like they have the capability of even being able to do that. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens. As well as we're gonna see what else the conversation was with what happens after the whole get down with Bullock, and on this next one, Bullock's young lady's telling him that he needs to find him a wife or whatever. I don't know that he's open to that. I think he kind of likes, yeah. Um, am I leaving something out? I don't know. I've talked about what I want to talk about. Y'all know with me. Hopefully they can. And on the next episode, the lady bishop is going to come together with the family and be upset and talk about him just leaving and all of that. I'm looking to see how that is going to work out, how they going to move forward, with that. I don't know. I do wish them the best, all of them the best. I hope that there's some kind of way that they can work it out and he'll come back home. Nobody wants to see a home be broke up. You know what I mean? So anywho, y'all leave y'all thoughts on that. Let me know how y'all feel about that. Um, I don't, how do you feel about, should they go and have this other producer? Is that going to change their message? I don't know. I really don't know. How do you feel about the Shelby girls laughing? And, I just felt like there was a little sign of disrespect. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, y'all. Tell me how y'all feel about it. And we'll talk about it next week or whatever. It comes back on Friday. I always seem to miss it. And y'all don't think I didn't see Bring It. I did. Y'all, I got bored with Bring It. And honey, they got their tails handed to them. They didn't win nothing. Anywho, let's move forward, y'all. I'm out of here. Much love.